Konnichiwa, every pony, Iris with Music Out the Mystic here. Today I'm going to be doing a review of this new Vylet Pony mixtape, Gonarch's Lair. Or is it Gonarch's Lair? I'm not entirely sure. Anywho, this is the latest project from EDM producer extraordinaire, noise rock newcomer, and now rapper, Vylet Pony. Now, I'll be honest, going into this mixtape, I was a little bit hesitant / resistant because I'm not a big fan of Rage, and knowing that that is apparently the main angle that this record was supposed to be going for really had me a little bit worried. Like, I've not enjoyed much of anything that I've heard in the genre. Sans The Revenge Seekers by Jane Remover, if you want to count that as Rage, which I certainly don't, aside from, like, the final track. But yeah, I have not really enjoyed much of any Rage that I've heard. Ken Carson of Samasan, Too Slimy. It's why I also haven't touched the new Slayer record that everyone's been fawning over. I just don't think I'm gonna like it, so why would I waste my time with it? But, of course, it being Vylet Pony, I was still excited to give it a listen because I'm very much a fan of Vylet Pony. You know, if you can't tell by Girls Who Are Wizards topping my year-end list, me doing another review very shortly after of Monarch of Monsters, fawning over that, giving that a pretty high score as well. The only reason I didn't cover her previous record, Love and Pony Step, despite me also loving that one, putting it on my year-end list, is because, one, I'm generally pretty lazy and I just didn't get to it because and two, last year was rough as hell for me, which is why my video output in general was practically zero. But on certain tracks from that record, like Dual-Headed Hydronoid, we got some hints of Vylet Pony going in a more rap-centric direction. That wasn't like the first instance that she ever rapped, because we got that excellent verse on The Queen Is Back from Girls Who Are Wizards, which is a good album that you should definitely check out. I mean, I like it, at least a little bit. So her going in a full-on rap direction could be something very cool, experimental, substantive, and doing it in this mixtape format really reminds me a lot of one of her previous mixtapes, or one of her only other mixtapes. I Was the Loner of Paradise Valley, which is her taking another detour sonically into more alternative R&B, art pop. And also, I think I mentioned before, but that was also my first exposure to her, was the final track of that record. It was incredible. And I meant to check out the rest of the mixtape later on, but I forgot. Yeah, that tape was pretty much a detour, exploring a different set of sounds, and this one, I would say, is pretty much in that vein too, but like the far darker, edgier cousin. Because instead of giving us pretty melodies over gorgeous R&B / ambient pop-ish backgrounds, we're getting extremely hard, aggressive trap, EDM-fueled rage, and kind of basic trap beats sometimes. Look, let's just start with the opening track, Outlaw, which is handily one of the hardest fucking Vylet Pony songs that I've heard thus far. With its banging trap beat, Vylet Pony's very up-in-your-face lyricism about trans rights and make throwing bricks at people great again. Like, Vylet comes at this track with an energy that is genuinely fucking phenomenal, captivating, and like some of the most aggressive lines that I've ever heard her say are on this song, and it's done so incredibly. And the guest vocalist, Lulamoon, which, is that literally just Vylet Pony? Isn't she like Zelda Trixie Lulamoon? Hold on a sec. Okay, it's not. It's just a weird coincidence. But yeah, this guest feature kind of steals the show. Like, not that Vylet Pony doesn't hold her own in this track. She certainly does. I mean, I was a little bit iffy at first, but with more listens, her performance is just absolutely fucking incredible. But this guest verse just is so fucking incredible. Like, it pretty much takes the political aggression that Vylet is showing on this track and then ups it like 3 times. And because her flow is so up-tempo and rhythmically tight, Vylet on her subsequent verse that comes after it, it seems to just lock into that rhythm and just build further. And this genuinely ends up probably being one of my favorite songs here, no question. The following question mark exclamation point is kind of like a hip house number. Again, it also follows these themes of like trans rights and stuff, but it's a much more positive, not as aggressive vibe. Like, Outlaw is the song that I feel like is going to be playing in Equestria when the riots start happening, but then question mark exclamation point is going to be like the after party of the riot. Is that a thing? Later on the track list, we get 2 more melodic numbers with Clusper and Blank Flanks 2, which, by the way, is such a fucking sticky song. I love this one so much. I knew from like the first second that it would just be one of those ones that's gonna be stuck in my head forever. And what's unfair is this song, Blank Flanks 2, has what it feels like several choruses, because there are just so many different sections that are all just so hooky and smooth and buttery and the final 3 tracks on this record also have some incredible melodic moments, VP being one of the ones that is just so overwhelming by the end of it. Like, these giant group background vocals almost feel a little overstimulating at points, but it genuinely feels like a giant great resolution to the song. Modern Talking Ballet that follows that one up kind of had me a little bit lost in the beginning, but when it comes to the second half, it really kicks into this more 4 on the floor EDM style groove, and it really hits that vibe as hard as it fucking can. And the final track, Snarl at Your Friends, was the single for the record, and I kind of put off listening to it for a while, because again, I was very hesitant about this record, it being categorized, or it being publicly stated to go in a more rage direction. But with these following listen, this really is one of Vylet's best songs, hands down. Like, the constant refrains of Snarl at Your Friends, the booming fucking beats, and the way that Vylet plays with her voice on this record, going into a deeper range for some lines as if she's fucking Cochise, is genuinely keeps it light and fun. And especially considering that the title track of this record, Gonarch's Lair, which came up earlier in the record right before the 3 tracks I'm talking about now, it's such a contrast in energies that it really helps this song feel like a giant grand closer. But I feel like putting this song at the very end of the record kind of shows how some moments prior can really pale in comparison. Not that I think there are any songs out here that are like outright bad, because at worst this thing is just kind of okay, kind of listenable. Pony music, for instance, is kind of a structural nightmare. Barely any of the passages mesh together. The guest vocalist barely provides any sort of presence whatsoever. Like, I like the general sentiment, and some of the melodic ideas are okay, but it's not really structured in any substantial way and doesn't really come to any grand conclusion. I really like the skit 122. It has a lot going on in it. Like, there's a fucking Easier to Love You cover that she does in there for like a split second, and then it also goes to her and I think a friend, it could just be her, rapping over a Memphis type beat, and she says, oh, it's kind of my horrorcore Memphis moment. I actually really like this song, and I wish this song could have been on the album instead, especially instead of the next track, Batty Freestyle, which, again, it's not horrible. It's not like a song that I'm dying to skip, but also it's so repetitive structurally. I mean, it's supposed to be freestyle, so it's supposed to be pretty simple, but the most of the first section of the song is just her repeating Batty again and again and again and again and again, and it's really monotonous. Not to mention, this song has a really dry dubstep wub just throughout it. For some reason, this song is supposed to be freestyle, but it doesn't sound that much less structurally put together than other moments here. I hope that was phrased correctly. I'm so tired. Eccentric Tumors is a song that I kind of like, despite its like very barren, minimalist rage trap beat, but it's really the guest vocalist on this one that kind of ruins it for me. Like, lyrically and flow wise, they're not really doing anything all that bad, but they're a very eccentric, expressive voice that only gets more and more wild as the verse goes on, not being supported in any way by this very barren beat, which only gets more barren whenever they start rapping. Really just makes this feel like one of those quirky sound effects that she would throw in for a second, except this is a whole verse, and it's not that great. Vylet sounds good on the song. I just kind of wish this person either wasn't on it or the beat was a bit more substantial under them. But I guess with this song coming right before the title track, Gonarch's Lair, which I haven't talked about yet, but I'm going to right now, it kind of, keeps the mood a bit light before we go into the absolute dark abyss that is Gonarch's Lair itself. Now, this song, topically and emotionally, kind of feels like something that could have been on Monarch of Monsters. Sound-wise, absolutely fucking not. Like, sure, it does have like a dark, oppressive sound to it, but again, this one is very much trap oriented, has a lot more of those rap style flows. There's some melodic structure going on here and there. Like, I really like the either guest vocalist or just her own chorus on this. I think it's a guest vocalist though. That sounds really beautiful. And this song in general kind of feels like a eulogy with its very dour tone, and Vylet talking about how she can't save her friend, and how this isn't a mercy killing, or this is a mercy killing. Again, I'm so tired. I don't remember. All I remember is this song makes me feel kind of terrified, and it's such a dark contrast from the rest of the record. This is one of the only songs on here, this and maybe Outlaw, that really feel like it matches the dark aroma of that cover art. Because also note, this is one of the few cover arts in her discography that is not like some beautiful fucking portrait. This one is, I'm pretty sure, just a straight up photo of a figurine, which has this dark, haunting atmosphere that you would expect from like a trap record. And while there are some points like this song, the intro track, and I would even say the beat of Baddie Freestyle that feel that dark minimalistic vibe, I don't think the whole record does. In fact, a lot of it is not too unlike something that could have fit on her previous record, Love and Pony Step. And so this record only having like a few spots of real darkness, surrounded by a lot of moments of the just bright, eccentric euphoria, like VP, the final track, Snarl at Your Friends, which I've mentioned prior. It's a fantastic fucking song. The title track can feel a little bit out of place, and this record can feel a bit inconsistent, both in style and quality and just tone. Now, this is because it's a mixtape, and so the stakes have been lowered quite a bit. I'm not gonna exactly be judging this on the same plane as I would like Love and Pony Step, for instance, which I would give a decent 8 out of 10. I love that record. And I'm certainly not gonna judge it to the same standards that I would Girls Who Are Wizards, which is one of the best albums I've ever heard. It is the one that cracked my fucking egg with a giant hammer. So with this record, I wouldn't say I'm disappointed, and I wouldn't say that she's fallen off or anything. More so that she's doing something a bit lower stakes and not as big picture. So yeah, I'm feeling like a 7- to a decent 7. Pretty solid stuff. And I can't wait to see what she does next. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Bye.